So when I first got my NC1 NSX, it came with these K&N air filters. And I want to make an important note. I have Science and Speed downpipes, and I think I have like Sport Cats or whatever. But the car sounded incredible, like mind-blowing. And I finally realized something really, really important that I never put together, and that's that the car has its own symphony and that you actually need to have two components. First off, you need to have the exhaust component. And then you need to have the intake component. The way I found out about this, that you have to have both, is that I swapped out to the OEM filters. Now, I'm going to address the controversial topic. Everybody, since I can remember getting into cars, has always bashed on K&N air filters. That the oils can mess up like your mass airflow sensors, that they could just mess up a lot of things, that they're not good. And a lot of reputable shops in the NSX community actually said it out loud, you know, clear as day, that K&N filters are no good, right? So that's the first thing that they said. So I kind of listened and I said, you know what? I'm going to put the OEM filters in. And I did. And when I drove the car, like, I felt like part of my soul got taken away as far as like my car soul, because all I had was the exhaust note. I could barely hear anything when it came to the intake sound. And so I drove like that for about 2 to 3 months. And it just really sounded like I was missing half of the entire experience. So here recently, I bought some K&N filters. You're probably thinking like, there's some K&N filters right here, but I'm gonna tell you what I did here in a bit. I put K&N filters right now. I just got back from the drive, and OMG, it was incredible. I tried to record the sound, so let's see if you can hear it in this video. And I can tell you right away that it's like getting half of the experience back. It sounds absolutely amazing. When I let off the gas, I actually hear like the wastegate. I actually hear the turbo spooling up. I hear everything. And when you combine that with the exhaust, it's perfection, like absolutely perfection. Now, when people have opinions against a company that's worth I don't know how much, and they've been using filters in their cars forever, like it's kind of hard to pick a side, right? When you have reputable shops, you have people who know what they're talking about, and then you have like a multi-million-dollar company, and I've been using K&N filters for decades as well. So it's really hard to find out who's right as far as if these hurt your engine or hurt certain components. So I found a loophole. So this is what I do. I don't re-oil my K&N filters. Nope. I'm not doing it. I'm not cleaning them. I'm not re-oiling them. I order a set of K&N filters, new ones every time. I know you're going to think I'm crazy because that's like a waste of money when you could just clean them and oil them. But here is the problem. When you buy brand new K&N air filters, they're like perfectly oiled from the manufacturer. Like they must have a machine that does it perfect. And when I oil my K&N filters, I'm like going to town. I think it's like a super soaker. I'm just like, and I think that's where a lot of the problems came from, because knowing how to oil your oil filter has always been a little bit of a gray zone. So if you oil it too much, you're gonna have a lot of issues with oil entering your system. And if you oil it too little, you're not gonna be filtering, right? Because that's part of its filtration process. So what I decided to do is I just buy new K&N filters, and whenever I think it's time to replace them, I do. And I highly recommend to buy OEM filters. And what I mean by that is that when I'm running around town, like if I'm just going to get coffee, I'm going to Cars and Coffee, and I'm just kind of doing like 30-minute drives or hour drives, nothing too crazy, just having fun, K&N filters all day long. But let's say you're heading to vacation or you're doing a long trip. Remove these filters, put your OEM ones. Like, and it's not that hard. Like, I've done it so many times that I time myself, and I think it took me 8 minutes to do everything. And we have a video like showing you how to use a wire to get the clips that are really hard, and I don't know why they did that, but they're really bad on your hands and stuff like that. But it's really easy to do. So I really got the science down. Like, I need a K&N filter. Like, without it, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I even considered selling the car when I had these on here. Like, I even posted my car on NSX Prime because I was like, I'm kind of bored. I put the K&N filters back in, and I have the intake sound and the exhaust sound with the SOS downpipes, and it is absolutely amazing. And if I need to go in a long distance, I'm definitely removing these because filtration is going to take priority. And not only that, you're not going to be really doing a lot of shifts and driving around. So if you're at a constant speed, it doesn't really matter how it sounds. And one thing I do want to mention, I drive my windows down all the time, even in the summer, right? I know it's sweaty or whatever, but because I want to hear the sound. So I decided on the way home to test if you could actually hear the filters with the windows up and the AC running. And guess what? With the K&N filters, you could still hear some sounds with the windows up. That's how awesome it is, and that's how loud it is. So I hope you take this information and you think about it. Think about, you know, what's important to you. At the end of the day, like, having that experience is totally worth the risk. But I'm mitigating it by buying new K&N filters every time. And if I'm going on a long distance, I'm just gonna replace it to the OEM filters. So I think I've gotten best of both worlds and try to mitigate any possible risk as much as I can. At least Michael and a big old team put together this website, carsoundcheck.com, and this is where you could order a custom car report. Let me give you guys an example. We investigate the VIN, we get service records. But not only that, we take your specific vehicle and we look for the actual real common issues. And how do we do that? Is we find out who's the #1 guy in that field. Like, who's the #1 Camaro guy? Who's the #1 GT3 guy? And we reach out and we converse. We've built a big network and we try to find out what the OGs would tell you to watch out for. So at the end of the day, when you buy our car sound check guide, you essentially go and save money because you become the OG. You learn everything you need to learn to be able to inspect the car the best way you can. Check us out at carsoundcheck.com. All right, guys, thanks for watching. You take care, stay safe, punch that like button, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.